What is good, people? Welcome back to 8 Count. Feels like I haven't uploaded in like a week, so I thought I'd better give a double upload today. This is the first video. Next video is going to be going up a little bit later on in the day, but be sure to check it out. In the second video, I'm going to be talking about the UFC last weekend, Luque versus Bilal Muhammad. I'm going to be talking Bellator, Corey Anderson versus Nemkov, and McKee versus Pitbull. But yeah, on today's video, I'm going to be talking boxing. I'm going to be talking Spence against Ugas and Conor Benn against Chris Van Heerden. But yeah, obviously I've separated the videos just because I know certain people only like mixed martial arts. Some people only like boxing. Me, I love it all. I don't mind it. But just so you can enjoy what you enjoy. So if you want to check one out, not the other, that's completely fine. Before we get into the video, make sure you hit the like button if you do enjoy it. Comment down below letting me know what you think on the current situation in the boxing world, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any of this upcoming content. You're not going to want to miss it. All things boxing, all things MMA. But let's get right into it. So we're starting off Spence Ugas. I mean, what a fight this was. I think coming in, Spence was the favourite. Obviously, this was for 3 of the welterweight bouts in boxing. I cannot remember the name of the one that my man Terence Crawford had, so it was the other 3. But yeah, it was a really interesting fight. I didn't think that Spence was going to play this game. He was on the inside a lot, and I've watched it back now once or twice, and I love some of the angling work he was doing on the inside, using his shoulder to pivot off. And for you guys, I thought he's quite stubborn in this fight. He stuck to his game plan and he didn't want to sway away from it. I think he needed to really look at creating space in this fight. I think that Errol Spence getting to the inside was just devastating. Spence was doing some great work to the body, but ultimately it was that it looks like a fractured orbital. To be honest, I don't know what else it could be. I'm not a doctor or anything like that, so but yeah, it looked like a fractured orbital to me. But yeah, Spence was brilliant on the inside, like I said. And, I think it was checked in round 6, I want to say. I can't remember if it was round 6, but I remember the doctor came in and he was looking at Ugas, and, he let him continue, to be fair. So I think Ugas, should be happy alone with that, with the fact that he was allowed to continue after that, though. It was the same old from Errol Spence. Obviously, I think there was a moment in this fight where I thought Spence was really hurt. He wasn't as hurt as I thought he was. It was the moment in round 6 where he went flying up against the ropes. But yeah, I was kind of really disappointed in Ugas in this fight. I think he could have offered more than that. I think with the eye hurt the way it was, and you saw when Spence hurt him with it, how he shelled up and kind of started backing up, which was something he wasn't doing all too much in this fight. It must have had a really big effect on him, which you can imagine, just having a broken face, let's call it that. But yeah, I wanted to see more from Ugas. I thought he allowed Spence to stick to what Spence wanted to do, and he didn't really create opportunities to pull back and use some more ranging strikes, because I think with the way Spence was fighting, obviously he was very up close, so he wasn't using a lot of head movement and stuff like that. I thought he could have done a bit better, but it is what it is. But ultimately, this just sets up the fight we've all been waiting for. Errol Spence against Crawford. Man, this is a great fight. I hope it happens this year. I think now, with the fact that Crawford's a free agent, Spence just beat Ugas for the last bout. So there's 4 bouts in the weight division, and Spence holds 3 and Crawford holds 1. I think this fight is bound to happen now. I just can't see which fight out there could intrigue both men more and could offer them more as well in their careers. I think that both men are now calling for it on social media and in videos. I think it's a great fight. It needs to happen. I don't think this has gone too far. I think when you look at Pacquiao against Mayweather, the years it went on for and it never happened, and then when we got it, it was underwhelming as well with the Pacquiao injury. But I feel like this one, we have waited a long time for it. But now is probably the best moment for the fight to happen. I don't think I can remember the hype for this fight being as big as it is now. That being said, it's a really close fight. I think if you're looking at each fighter and picking who is the more skilled fighter, I'd definitely pick Spence. But that's not all it's about. And for me, actually, I think this fight is going to be really close, especially going in. I think the odd makers are going to have this fight really close. But I think that Bud Crawford might just be a slight favourite. And he would be my pick if he was going into this fight right now. I know Spence has just had an amazing performance, but for me, I feel like Crawford's the sort of guy who, you know, can use those rangy attacks. I think he can take away the advantages that Spence comes in with fighting at southpaw. You know, he switched stance himself. I just think in my head, when I think about this fight, I see Crawford being able to hurt Spence like no one else has really been able to do. And I could see him getting a stoppage anywhere after about the 8th round. That being said, I wouldn't be surprised if Spence was able to do his thing, man, because the guy is so talented, so skilled. You know, he had that really bad car accident. We never thought he would, you know, be the same probably after that. You know, I think if you look at most fighters or, you know, any sort of sports after they have something so significant happen to them, you don't expect them to come back the same way they were before. But in Spence's case, I actually think he's improved quite a lot. I thought it was risky the way he fought Ugas. You know, he could have, you know, he took chances in there, but it paid off for him. I think he went into that fight wanting a finish. I think he wanted to make a statement, and I think finishing Ugas the way he finished him definitely made a big statement. I cannot wait for this fight. Hopefully we get it on, we get the fight later this year. Who knows with boxing, man, but we can only hope. Fingers crossed. But yeah, I cannot wait for it. The next fight, the last fight I'm going to talk to you about was this fight, Conor Benn versus, I think it's Chris Van Heerden, the South African. Yes. But yeah, it was a short fight, this one. A really short fight. I think you saw that there are chances if you're coming up against Benn for you to outbox him. I think Van Heerden did actually quite well in the first round. I can't remember if I scored it for him or not. I think I may have, but I remember Conor Benn was coming forward a lot. He was using a lot of movement, going low to try and catch Van Heerden. I think Van Heerden was doing a great job with the jab early on. I think it kind of fell away from him, especially in that second round, where you saw Conor Benn be able to get to the inside. And for me, Benn's kind of like this throwback fighter. Obviously his dad is kind of similar, but he just swarms people, and his ability to do work, you know, he is frightening. You look at the Chris Algieri fight, the fight before that as well. You know, it took Errol Spence 8 rounds to beat Van Heerden. I'm not saying that Benn is on that level, but you know, it's got to be respected what he did. I think the way he was able to cut, you know, to hurt Van Heerden, and it was a very like almost Tyson-esque the way he kind of like swiveled and he made an angle for himself, and the way he threw that right hand, it was almost like he had Van Heerden hurt. He was kind of almost sitting onto the ropes, and he kind of cut the angle, and then it was a downwards right hand straight on the chin, and it was really effective, man. And you know, Van Heerden was really in a bad place after that. He was he was definitely in the shadow realm. Wrong way. It's hard to do it on this camera, but yeah. Anyway, yeah, it was a great fight. As long as it lasted. I think for Conor Benn now, that was a fight which I think got a lot of backlash, but I think, you know, when you look at it from a more, you know, you look back from it a little bit. Obviously, coming into it, I think most people expected Benn to win. But I think they also expected him to have a much harder task in this fight to what he did. For me, I felt like it was a decent fight to make. I didn't think that, you know, it would be the hardest fight for Benn, but I did think he'd have more problems. I thought the jab and the range that Van Heerden would maybe be able to keep would be a bit better in this fight to what it was. But I think it was a necessary step, and now, you know, we've got to look at the next step for Conor Benn. And I was on the WBA website today, just looking at the rankings, and, you know, there's some interesting fights to make. I think, personally, for me, the one that comes to mind straight away, I think that Benn against Broner is a brilliant fight to make. I think Broner, stylistically, I think he's quite defensively, you know, I don't know how to say it without being disrespectful, I guess. But I guess there's vulnerabilities there, 100%. And I think that would suit Benn. I think the name value of someone like a Broner, although now, you know, with the hardcore boxing fan, I guess you could say that the respect has kind of been lost, but the name value and the style which Broner is, to maybe have Benn's US debut against someone like a Broner, I think it would be a great fight. I think it would sell well. I think the talk going into it would be good. I think ultimately it would be a good fight for Conor Benn in terms of a winnable fight. And a name value wise, just for his US debut, I think it'd be a really good fight. I'm not sure Broner would really have the ability to hurt him. I think Benn would be able to swarm him. I think you saw in the Maidana fights back in the day that, you know, it's definitely possible to kind of swarm Broner, and I definitely think Conor Benn is that sort of fighter who would do it to him. But yeah, when you look on the WBA, I think this is the organization that he's actually currently ranked highest in the ranking. So they have him at number 5. Above him, there are some hard fights. Obviously, we've got the 3 champs. Well, the 2 champs, Errol Spence Jr. and Terence Crawford. But underneath them, you know, you're looking at someone like Virgil Ortiz, Jaron Ennis Boots, and Keith Thurman. I think, you know, if they don't want to make the Broner fight, I just feel like the Broner fight, for some reason, it just, for me in my head, it feels like the fight which is going to happen. But I definitely think a Keith Thurman fight would definitely be a decent one as well for a US debut. I think that Thurman, in my opinion, would be a much tougher fight than Broner. But, you know, if it was to happen, I think, you know, name-wise, I think everything, especially with the rankings, him being above him, I think it'd be a great fight to make. I really hate the Boots Ennis fight for him right now. Maybe in the future, I wouldn't mind it as much, but right now, stylistically, I just really don't like it. I'm a fan of Benn. I really enjoy his fighting style so far. Obviously, he came in super green, but, you know, you can see improvements fight after fight. I felt in this fight, you know, looking back at it, he's going to be able to take away stuff as well, and keep on improving. I think it's a really interesting story with Conor Benn, obviously having that name value, but I think ultimately he does get a lot of disrespect because of the fact that, you know, I guess they kind of say silver spoon fed, I guess that's the saying, you know, coming from a privileged background. But for me, Conor Benn, he's got a lot of dog in him, let me just say that. And it's going to be really interesting to see, you know, in the next 4 or 5 years what he's accomplished in his career. But yeah, I can't wait to find out. Really interesting, really great fight style. But yeah, guys, that's going to be the end of this video. Like I said at the start, I've got another video coming up later on today. Make sure you check that one out if you are a MMA fan, or even if you're just looking to get into MMA. I'm going to be talking about 3 of the biggest fights from the past weekend. Obviously, the UFC is probably the main staple for MMA, just in a general way because of the name value. But Bellator puts on some brilliant events all year round, and last weekend's was certainly one of them. I'll be talking about the 2 fights on that card, and I'll be talking about the last UFC main event between Bilal Muhammad and Vicente Luque. Be sure to check that out. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Tomorrow I'm going to have a video coming out as well. I'm going to be talking about Tyson Fury against Dillian Whyte, the upcoming fight. And yeah, if you enjoyed the video, please leave a like. Comment down below letting me know who you think is actually a really good opponent next for Conor Benn. And yeah, just, you know, give a video a thumbs up if you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time. Take care, guys, and I'll see you later on. Peace out. Bye.